Okay, so I think based on this video, it's going to be really obvious to see that I'm in no way a professional. I don't have good equipment. I don't have good lighting. I don't have like a really good presence. But what I do have is something to say. And the way this all started was actually as I don't want to say therapeutic, but more like a cathartic exercise for myself to honestly to celebrate the changes that I have made in my life for the past few years. And I've had a lot of victories that I honestly didn't think I would ever see um, in the process of becoming authentically who I truly am. And so the reason that I started writing these things down was for me, but in that process, I found that I actually had a lot to say. And some of it seemed to be less inward and more outward, to the point where I feel like maybe other people needed to hear what I was saying. And the title of this video is actually going to be Oversharing, because I have a real tendency to do that. As you can probably tell, I'm not great with the social skills, and I never have been. And so there's been times where I'm I get, I guess, kind of excited or in the zone or whatever, and I'm talking and I'm talking and I'm like, look at me, I'm socializing, I'm talking to the people, I'm doing a really good job. And then later I realize that was not great. And those people really were not very appreciative of everything that I was telling them. Maybe it was things they didn't really want to know or didn't really care about. And and then I start to regret what I said. I really, really overshared. I should have closed my mouth long, long ago. So sometimes that is the experience, and it's kind of a negative one, but it's not always that way, because sometimes I say things that I'm not upset about later. And I do think that saying them was the right thing. I think that people did need to hear what I had to say. And then there's been times where I felt like I really had overshared, but I find out that while the majority of the audience was probably like, she needs to stop talking, um, there might be just like one person way in the back who is thinking, wow, I am not the only one. There are other people like me. There's somebody else that's been through this too. And so sometimes oversharing is good for me to get that out, because I have a real tendency, and have in the past, to just not talk about any problems that I might be having. But it's also good for other people, because when you have a similar experience to me where you've grown up, your concerns, your struggles were ignored, discounted, then finding out that you're actually truly not alone, that you're not the only weird one that this happens to, is amazing. It's a very validating experience. And if I can give that to somebody, it would be kind of worth it. So yeah, the reason why I'm making this video, and why I plan to make several more, is first of all, I want to not hide anymore. I want to celebrate the unmasking that I have been working so hard on for the past several years. I want to talk about some of the struggles that I have, because I want people to understand that what you see when you see me out in the world and You know, that's not always the reality that I actually live. Um, I want people to maybe glean a little more understanding. If you're not struggling with this issue, maybe somebody you know or love is, and you need to hear what that experience is really like. Perhaps you just don't know what any of this is and you're interested, or you just want to watch like the slow motion train wreck of my life kind of um, splayed out there for you to see. Um, and everything that I'm gonna talk about is just from my own personal experience, because I don't know anybody else's. I can't speak to their experiences. I'm definitely not like a psychologist. I haven't put in a great deal of study. And I don't have any interest in doing that. I just want to be open and authentic about who I am. Because up until just a few years ago, my life was devoted to completely hiding every aspect of who I was, because I was ashamed of it, because I hated it. I hated me. And I am so much freer now. I am so much happier now. I actually love all of these weird little quirks. I can find the positive in a lot of really negative things that I have to deal with. And I also feel like I truly love myself in a way that I never have before. And I feel like there are a lot of people out there, probably my age, probably women or minorities, who have also had their concerns and their struggles played down or discounted or ignored by the medical world, by the educational world, by friends and family and acquaintances at large. And so I feel like there's a lot of people that might also be struggling. To be honest, I was, up until just the past few years, struggling real hard and not knowing why. So it's for me. It's for you. I don't know how many people are going to watch this or any other videos that I make. That's not my concern. I'll be doing my part by making it and putting it out there, and just oversharing a little bit. And so some of the topics that I plan to discuss, and this is just like off the top of my head because I know that there's like a lot more that'll come up. The first thing I'm going to talk about is definitely going to be masking, and that is going to be a really heavy, really kind of dark discussion. But it has to happen because pretty much everything else that I'm ever going to reference is going to be about masking in some part, because that's literally the foundation of my life. Or has been, until I started this process a few years ago of actually unmasking. And so I'm going to get that out of the way, and then the rest of them will not be nearly as heavy. We won't go into some dark places that we're going to have to go for the masking. I'm going to talk about executive dysfunction, memory issues. I'm going to talk about dyscalculia, obsessive compulsive disorder, complicated relationships with food and sleep and clothing and sensory processing disorder, things like misophonia. I'm going to talk about, just kind of your general neurodivergent issues, things like stemming, the really false reality that society has created for the aging and the gendering of products, which is actually to the detriment of the entire neurodiverse community. And I'm going to talk about just all kinds of other things that will relate to the experience of being a neurodivergent person in a very neurotypical world. And if you're someone who has these same struggles, then, maybe this will be kind of a therapeutic experience for you too, just so you can hear that you're not alone, that there is like a community of people like you who also struggle with these things. If you're somebody who's questioning if maybe the reason why you've had such a hard time is because perhaps you are a neurodiverse person, and just hearing what some other people's experiences are like can open your eyes a lot. If you're someone who knows and loves a neurodivergent person, then this might be good for you. Or if you're somebody who's just curious about it. So I hope that you will join me back for a few more videos. I'm not sure how many I'll make. I guess I'm just going to do it until I run out of stuff to say. And I've decided to call this whole series just Oversharing, because that's basically what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to be talking about me. I'm going to be talking about my life. I'm going to be talking about some kind of hard things. And I fully believe that I will get a little pushback, get a little flack from this, because in the last few years, I've honestly dealt with more teasing, bullying, harassment, judgmental stares and comments, a lot more of that than I ever have in my entire life, because I'm not trying to hide that I'm different anymore. And if you knew me before, you might be thinking, well, she wasn't doing a very good job. Or you might be thinking, she's got to be making this stuff up. I don't know. I'm actually be kind of curious to know if I was doing a very good job or if I was doing a terrible job. But I was definitely trying really hard. So I don't actually know how to either start or end a conversation. Usually in person, I just kind of wander off, and I can't actually do that with a video. So I'm going to end this by just saying bye.